All right, let's jump into a world where ancient Hindu mythology meets real-world locations,
Okay.
where the line between fact and legend gets
Right.
kind of wonderfully blurry.
Right.
We're diving deep into two novels today,
Okay.
The Hidden Hindu and The Hidden Hindu 2 by Akshat Gupta.
Yeah.
These books are more than just stories. They blend history, geography,
And
and mythology in a way that makes you question
Yeah.
what's possible.
It really does.
So are you ready to explore the mysteries of Mount Kailash
Let's do it.
and the concept of immortality?
They really get you thinking, these novels.
Yeah.
Bringing together like Mount Kailash, the legends of
Yeah.
Ganga, and
Yeah.
Chiranjeevis, the immortals. It's like the author's suggesting that maybe, just maybe,
Yeah.
there's more to these ancient myths than we think.
You might already know that Mount Kailash is a sacred peak in
Yeah.
the Himalayas, revered by Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains.
Mhm.
But what makes it truly intriguing
Yeah.
is its unique geographical position. Like these precise distances,
Mm-hmm.
6,666 kilometers
Wow.
between Mount Kailash and other significant locations around the world. The North Pole, Stonehenge,
Interesting.
even the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
And despite being smaller than Everest,
Right.
Mount Kailash has proven incredibly difficult to climb.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost as if Mount Kailash is at the center of some ancient, like, global grid,
Right.
This precise alignment, was it intentional?
Right.
Some kind of design by a civilization we've forgotten?
Yeah.
And then the fact that so many expeditions have failed to reach the summit,
Yeah.
despite its relatively moderate height,
Right.
just adds to the mystery.
It does.
And the book suggests possible astronomical connections.
Right.
Maybe even hinting at some kind of mystical energy coming from the mountain.
And then there's Gyanganj,
Oh.
this hidden city in the Himalayas,
Right.
described as a city of extinct beings, really.
Extinct beings.
Yeah, and sages who have achieved immortality and are secretly influencing
Okay.
the evolution of humanity.
So they're like, what, pulling the strings from behind the scenes?
Yeah, like a real-world Shangri-La hidden away from prying eyes.
The concept of Gangar, it pops up in a lot of Eastern spiritual traditions.
Yeah.
What was fascinating here is like, does it represent a physical place
Right.
or a state of higher consciousness?
Hmm.
Could it be that this hidden society, if it exists,
Yeah.
acts as this guiding hand, shaping human history?
The books also introduce us to the Chiranjeevis,
Right.
the 8 immortals of Hindu mythology,
Okay.
who are said to still be alive today.
Whoa, really?
We meet a few of them in the story. Ashwathama,
Uh-huh.
a cursed warrior trying to find redemption.
Hmm.
Then there's Parashurama, a warrior sage with incredible power.
Interesting.
And, of course, Kripacharya, known for his wisdom and his
Right.
role as a teacher.
Immortality, it's such a powerful concept. And in these stories, it's like multi-layered,
Yeah.
Is it purely physical, defying death and aging?
Right.
Or is there a spiritual element to it?
Yeah.
Transcending our mortal limits, what would it even mean to live for centuries?
Right.
The novels explore the challenges, the burdens, the potential isolation of it all.
The pain of watching loved ones pass away.
Exactly.
Right.
Do remain.
So what do you think? Does immortality sound appealing or
Well-
more like a curse?
I think it would depend on the circumstances.
Yeah, for sure.
But speaking of defying death,
Okay.
the novels introduce these ancient texts
Yeah.
called the Books of Mrit-Sanjivani,
Okay.
which supposedly hold the knowledge to revive the dead.
Wow, revive the dead.
It's a quest for these books that drives a lot of the plot.
Okay.
Characters risk everything to find them,
Right.
believing they hold the key to ultimate power.
It's fascinating how those books become a symbol of humanity's, age-old fascination with overcoming death. Right.
With achieving some form of immortality.
Right.
What's interesting here is what the books represent.
Yeah.
They force us to confront the consequences
Mhm.
of manipulating the natural order,
Right.
to question whether such power belongs in human hands.
Right. Like just because
What
we
exactly?
bring someone back from the dead,
Right.
should we?
That's a great point.
And things get even more intense
Oh,
with
yeah.
the introduction of the antagonist, Nagendra.
Right.
He's obsessed with those books of Mrit-Sanjivani,
I see.
wanting to use them to become immortal and rule the world. Classic supervillain.
Right. Classic. Yeah, there are definitely parallels between Nagendra and the prophecy of Kalki.
Right.
The final avatar of Vishnu, who's destined to restore balance to the world.
Right.
Nagendra kind of embodies those forces of chaos that Kalki must overcome.
Right. The classic battle between good and evil.
Yeah, exactly, but presented in a fresh way.
Then there's this element of the story I find so captivating.
Okay.
9 words hidden throughout India. They're like pieces of a puzzle.
Okay.
When combined, they form key to a mysterious door.
Interesting.
The immortals are racing against time to stop Nagendra from finding all 9 words. And unlocking that door. Talk about high stakes.
That creates such a sense of urgency in the novels.
Yes, it does.
Keeps you guessing.
Yeah.
What's behind that door?
Yeah.
What happens if he succeeds?
Right. And it's not just about action and adventure, is it?
It's not. No, they delve into the relationships between the characters, their motivations, you know?
Right. It's not just about the epic scale of the story. It's also about the characters and their personal journeys. There's this really interesting dynamic between Nagendra and his loyal follower, Devdrath.
Okay.
Their relationship explores love, loyalty, and the length to which we go for those we care about, even if it means compromising our own morals.
What's compelling there is how those personal struggles mirror the broader conflicts of the story, right? We see the complexities of human nature, that inner battle between ambition and compassion. What stands out to you about their relationship?
I think it makes you question how far you would go for someone you believe in, even if they were doing things that were morally questionable.
Exactly. Is that loyalty admirable? Or is it misguided?
The books also showcase the theme of sacrifice, especially with a character named LSD, who endures so much for the sake of her unborn child.
And then there's Ashwathama, wrestling with his past mistakes, seeking redemption.
It's like even these larger-than-life figures, these immortals, have this very human side with their own struggles and vulnerabilities.
Yeah, these personal stories add so much depth to the larger narrative, right? They remind us that even amidst, you know, epic quests, supernatural phenomena, it's the human heart with all its complexity that really drives the story.
It's like the author is saying that even immortals experience the full spectrum of human emotions.
It's powerful.
This brings us to the big reveal at the end of The Hidden Hindu.
All right.
The door is open, but what's on the other side? The ending leaves us with so many questions about the characters and the fate of the world they inhabit.
It's like they just scratched the surface of these mysteries, you know?
Right.
What do you think lies beyond that door?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out in the next book.
Right. What fate awaits these characters?
Right.
What about us, the readers? What can we learn from these stories about the pursuit of knowledge, power and immortality? And, you know, maybe even more importantly, what does it say about our own beliefs and the stories we choose to embrace?
That's a really good question, and I guess we'll have to explore that further.
We will.
In our next deep dive into The Hidden Hindu 2.
I can't wait.
So stay tuned for that.
Sounds good. Those books really get you thinking about the boundaries between myth and reality. You know?
And the power of belief.
Right, exactly.
And the impact those beliefs have on our lives. You know, it's not just about like finding a hidden city or a key to immortality. It's about the journey of self-discovery that comes from exploring these ideas that have resonated with humanity for centuries.
That journey of self-discovery is really front and center in the novels. Especially in relation to You know, he has no memory of his past before a certain point. And is driven by this need to understand who he is, where he came from, what his purpose might be.
It's like we're right there with him, piecing together the fragments of his memories.
Exactly.
And in the process, maybe discovering something about ourselves.
It's true.
It's interesting how his name, Om, is such a powerful symbol in Hinduism, representing interconnectedness, the search for ultimate truth.
You're right. The connection to Om's name adds another layer to his character and his journey, you know? It's not just personal, it's cosmic. Tied to these larger forces at play in the universe.
And this idea of interconnectedness, a grand narrative unfolding over time.
Yes.
Amplified by the presence of the Chiranjeevas.
Right, exactly.
Those immortals who are like living links to the past.
Exactly, carrying the wisdom and experiences of countless generations. And they're not just passive observers, are they?
Right.
They actively shape the present and the future.
Yeah.
Often behind the scenes, maintaining balance.
Yeah.
Safeguarding the world.
Right.
From those who would exploit its secrets.
What are your thoughts on their role?
Yeah, it makes you think about the nature of free will versus destiny.
Right, right.
You think they're justified in their interventions?
Well...
Or is it a form of manipulation?
I mean, their presence creates a sense of continuity.
Right.
Like this chain connecting past, present, and future.
Yeah.
Even in a world that's always changing.
Right.
Some things remain constant.
But that order, that balance is constantly under threat.
Yeah.
Forces seek to disrupt it, you know?
Yeah.
Nagendra represents those darker aspects of human nature.
Yeah, thirst
for power, the desire for control, the willingness to exploit others for personal gain.
What are your thoughts on how the author portrays him?
It's interesting.
He's not just a one-dimensional villain.
Right.
He has a complex backstory tied to ancient mythology, which makes him, you know, a more compelling antagonist.
He is.
His obsession with immortality isn't just about escaping death.
Right.
It's about gaining more power and control.
His ambition is driven by resentment.
Right.
You know, he feels like he's been denied what is rightfully his.
Yeah.
Which makes him dangerous.
Right.
Unpredictable. Someone willing to do anything to achieve his aims.
Right. And then we have characters like Devdrath.
Yeah.
Who remain loyal.
Right. Knowing the darkness that's there.
Despite knowing the darkness that lies within Nagendra.
Yeah, it really makes you question the nature of loyalty. Like, how far would someone go for someone they believe in?
Exactly.
Even crossing ethical boundaries.
And then there's that scene in the books.
Oh, yeah.
Where there's like a mass poisoning that happens during a feast.
Right. Nagendra orchestrated it.
Yeah.
To get rid of his rivals, solidify his power.
It was such a shocking moment.
It was.
It really revealed the depths of his cruelty.
That scene is a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked ambition. You know, Nagendra isn't just power hungry.
Right.
He's a manipulator, ready to sacrifice innocent lives.
Exactly. Up until that point, you could almost understand his motivations, even if you didn't agree with them.
Yeah.
But that poisoning was like a turning point.
Yeah.
It revealed his true nature, and the stakes became much higher.
Right.
Then there's LSD, who is caught in this web of manipulation.
Right.
She's struggling with her conscience, trying to navigate this dangerous world while protecting herself and her unborn child.
Her story is a reminder of the vulnerability of those caught in Nagendra's orbit.
Right.
She's forced to make difficult choices, you know, compromises to survive.
Right.
And that theme of manipulation, of unseen forces influencing events, is mirrored in the novel's exploration of past lives and reincarnation.
We discover that many of the characters, including Om and Nagendra, have this shared history.
That goes back millennia.
That spans millennia. Their past actions continue to shape their present lives in this complex web of karma and destiny.
It's like they're bound by this invisible thread.
Yeah.
Playing out a drama that began centuries ago.
Right. And the exploration of past lives, I mean, it brings up those questions about the nature of identity, free will, and the cyclical nature of time.
Do you think our past actions define us?
It's like we're not just living one life, but countless lives intertwined and influencing each other.
Exactly.
It adds this like layer of mystery to the story as we try to piece together fragments of their past lives to understand how they've led to the present conflict.
And each life presents new challenges, opportunities for growth and learning, to break free from those karmic cycles.
Exactly.
These books explore those questions in an accessible way.
Yeah.
In a thought-provoking way.
Do you ever think about your own past lives?
Sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
Like, what experiences might have shaped who you are today?
It's definitely something to think about.
For sure.
And we can't forget about the books of Mritsan Giovanni.
Oh, right.
They represent that ultimate quest for knowledge and power.
Yeah.
That age-old desire to overcome the limitations of mortality.
They symbolize that eternal human fascination. With cheating death.
Yeah.
Unlocking the secrets of life itself.
What do you think would happen to society?
Ooh, that's a good question.
If anyone could be brought back from the dead.
Right.
Utopia or dystopia?
It's a question explored in so many stories.
Right.
And it's fascinating to see it through the lens of ancient mythology.
It is.
Makes you think about the ethical implications of that power.
Yeah, it's not enough to just acquire knowledge.
Right.
We must also use it wisely.
Exactly. Use it wisely.
It's interesting how the novels present a more balanced, I guess you could say, approach to gender roles.
Right.
Compared to what we often see in traditional mythology.
Absolutely. The female characters aren't just there to support the male characters or fulfill those typical roles.
Right.
They have their own agency, their own strength, their intelligence.
Right.
They're forces to be reckoned with, really.
Characters like LSD really challenge those traditional expectations.
Exactly.
Right. They forge their own paths, making those difficult choices, enduring hardship, all while protecting those they love.
Their presence really adds to the narrative.
Yeah.
It adds complexity and depth.
Yeah.
They demonstrate that true progress and balance can only be achieved when both men and women work together.
Yeah.
Recognizing and respecting each other's unique strengths and perspectives.
And that theme of balance extends beyond gender dynamics, too.
It does.
Right. We see it in the way the novels weave together nature and technology, ancient mysticism and modern science.
Yeah. The authors seem to be suggesting that a holistic approach to knowledge and understanding is key.
Right. It's not about choosing one over the other.
Right.
It's about recognizing the value in both.
Exactly.
We see those ancient practices and wisdom coexisting alongside, cutting edge
technology. It's like they're saying we can learn from both the past and the present.
Right. That by combining ancient wisdom with modern innovation, we can create a better future.
Interesting concept, right?
Yeah.
True wisdom lies not in rejecting one or the other, but in integrating them into a more, complete understanding of ourselves and the universe.
And speaking of understanding, let's talk about those books of San Giovanni again.
Oh, right.
They represent this ultimate quest for knowledge and power.
The desire to transcend.
The
limitations of mortality.
They symbolize our fascination with cheating death.
Yeah.
Unraveling the mysteries of life and existence.
The fact that they're so fiercely guarded by both the immortals and those who seek to exploit them really highlights the potential dangers of such knowledge falling into the wrong hands.
It really does raise a lot of ethical questions.
Right. What would happen if we had the power to bring back the dead?
Would it be utopia or dystopia?
Oh, that's a great question.
It's something that science fiction has, grappled with for decades.
Sure.
But by framing it within the context of ancient mythology, these novels offer kind of like a fresh perspective on those potential consequences of tampering with the natural order.
Tampering,
And in a way, I guess that responsibility is reflected in the choices that the characters make throughout the story.
They're constantly facing these dilemmas,
They're
weighing the consequences of their actions.
There's this constant tension between, individual desires and the greater good.
And it's not always clear what the right path is.
Exactly. The lines between good and evil are often blurred.
Very true.
Even the immortals who are supposed to represent, the forces of good, they have their flaws.
They do. They make mistakes.
That's what makes them so relatable, don't you think?
It does. It makes them human,
They're not these perfect, all-knowing beings. They struggle with their own doubts and fears.
And regrets.
Take Ashafama, for instance.
Oh, yes.
He's haunted by the guilt of his past actions. And he desperately wants redemption.
Yeah, he represents that idea. That even those who strive for righteousness can be tempted by darkness.
What did you think of his character arc?
It's a reminder that we're all capable of both good and evil. It's our choices, it's our actions that ultimately define who we are.
And his struggles also highlight that theme of free will versus destiny.
It does, yes.
That runs throughout the novels,
Are we masters of our own fate? Or are our lives predetermined by forces beyond our control?
They're caught in this,
it's like a tug of war, right?
Like a cosmic tug of war. Between making their own choices and feeling the pull of ancient prophecies and karmic cycles.
The influence of those powerful beings.
Like Shukracharya.
The novels don't offer any easy answers to these questions.
They don't. They really don't.
No. But they provide a lot of food for thought.
They do.
They invite us to contemplate these questions alongside the characters.
Alongside the characters.
To grapple with those complexities of existence.
And maybe that's the point,
Maybe it is.
Maybe it's not about finding those definitive answers.
Right. But about embracing the mystery.
The unknown.
The unknown.
Yeah.
Recognizing that there are forces at play.
Absolutely.
That we may never fully comprehend.
We may never.
But even in the face of that uncertainty,
right,
we still have the power to choose how we respond to those things.
To learn from our experiences.
To learn from our experiences, to strive toward a better version of ourselves.
A better world.
And create a better world.
Yeah.
One that is more just, more balanced.
More harmonious.
More harmonious.
It all comes back to that idea of balance.
It really does.
Doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
Finding that equilibrium between opposing forces.
Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into the hidden Hindu.
Yeah.
It's been a fascinating exploration.
It has.
Ancient mythology. And its connections to the modern world.
To the modern world, yeah.
If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to check out our next episode,
where we'll be diving into the hidden Hindu too.
Yes.
Until then, keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
And keep diving deep.
And keep diving deep.